Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Divine Journey. So, since last episode, I have done a bunch of work, not actually on the Blood Altar. I've been working around this area of the base, as well as over in the mob area, as well as a bit of mining. In addition, I've got a bit more oreberry bushes in there. I haven't finished the first row on any of them yet, but tin and copper both are kind of getting close to that first row being finished. That first 15 by 15 area. So anyways, down here, I've been working on the bridge section. You can see that the bridge actually kind of spans around off in that direction a little bit. Over here, I haven't done any work on this segment, but off in this direction. Both sides are done. I still have a lot of framework to do on the bridges going down, but I'm trying to get like the baseline of it done at the moment. These bridges are going to take a ton of time by the time everything is said and done because of the amount of bridges that we have spanning, all over the place, and this isn't even everything. So these bridges are going to be very time consuming. And then in addition, I worked on this area here. This is the start of one of our automation buildings. It's not going to be the only one. I'm not going to have all my automation stuck in one single building within the series. But I did start working on this a little bit, and nothing in here at the moment, but it's just a shell at the moment. I did run over power lines as well as dense ME conduit. Okay, and I'll show you how I ran that over. I'm actually very happy with it. We will be using the quantum stuff for AE2 as well as P2P and things like that in the future once the need arises. But for the ME conduit and the power, I decided to just run them over with kind of like a pipeline coming over from this segment of the island over to this segment, so it didn't feel out of place, just like cables sticking out. This is all just carpenter's blocks, and right inside of here there is a couple cables that run through this area. This took a little while to do, but I just kind of wanted a pipeline connecting these, because instead of just resorting to Tesseracts and quantum rings and all that stuff for everything, I wanted to actually run some cables when they're within like a single district like that. So since that's still kind of part of the industrial district, I left it there. And then if we come over here, this is a little bit of a jaunt, but I was working on this area a bit. Now this area's not done yet, but I did work on it a bit. You can see there's a big building there kind of popping up in the distance, off in the distance. So if we pop up here, you can see this building actually has a roof on it. Woot. This is going to be our Lycanites showcase area more than anything. It will be for manual breeding and stuff like that, and we'll have all the different tameable creatures, because I was actually counting up, and as far as creatures that we're going to farm, like Lycanites creatures that can be farmed, there are 12 different ones. Okay, so basically what I've done is I've laid out 12 different pens. Now 2 of these pens are actually going to be liquid pens. So these carpenter's barriers, I don't know for sure. They probably won't stay, and I'll probably just put like a little area down there. I'm not for sure, but I went ahead and laid out little areas just to get an idea of where I'm going to have the different creatures, and wanted to make sure everything has a pen area. And more than anything, these are going to be for looks long term. Short term, we will use this for breeding like this episode, but we have spaces for all 12 farmable creatures, and that way we can have a place where they're kind of contained. And if we run up here, we've got all these different creatures around here that we've tamed for our purposes. But anyways, if we step on inside, these are all player censored with Melissa's doors. This is the bottom floor of our what's going to be, and we're going to be working in this building a lot today. This is the bottom floor of our mob center. This will not be necessarily for fully automated mob systems. This will be for stuff like what I'm thinking is we're not going to use the SafariNet MFR system for everything. We'll use a variety of other spawners, and long term probably draconic evolution spawners, but that's very, very long term at this point. But what this building is for is it's for controlled spawning, so we can change out SafariNets. We have 2 different spawning pens down here, and this is what they look like, and we're just going to put the spawner down here. The mobs will get spawned and killed in this area. Okay, and then if we pop up here, and the way we're going to access these is we're going to access them with Ender IO blocks from Ender IO, And then over here, this is another room. It's just identical to the other one. And so we can basically just walk through here, look down, see that stuff's getting killed. And then if we want to switch out the safari nets, we can do that fairly easily. And then over here, this is going to be for, like, later on. We can't make powered spawners yet, but this is for the 5 powered spawners for automation purposes. I went ahead and put them over here, and that'll be like the bat, the enderman, the villager, the zombie, and the witch powered spawner that we use for, you know, stuff within the Soulbinder. We want powered spawners so that we can get soul vials automated with those. So we'll be handling all that right in here. Over here, this is an essence berry farm. I decided to actually set one up, and we actually have quite a few essence berries. I pulled all the essence berries from the rest of our base out. And if we pop up here, you can see that the top layer is done, and then I'm kind of working through these bottom sections here. We aren't too many essence berries off from being able to fill it out. Probably another 30-ish, maybe. And then I already have harvesters set up here. I went ahead and set those up. It'd be easier to do that. And then we can access them right here. We're going to have all this automated this episode, so. But I decided for our mob essence, for our MFR system, we're going to use an essence berry system. Because I didn't really have any other use for essence berries. Because, I mean, we already have, like, over 300 and something levels. Like, 320 something levels last I looked. I don't really need essence berries for experience, but I figured, well, we can use them for, like, a contained essence berry farm. And use it with a sewer system. But I think once that's filled out, that should be enough experience coming in to run our essence farms with MFR. And then if we pop upstairs, we have this little area. This section here doesn't have anything yet. This building's still very much a work in progress. But then if we step back here, we have a nifty little room here. This is going to be for soul storage, basically. And so on this side, we're going to have soul vials, and I'm going to try to fill it out with every creature available, is my goal. So I'm going to start mass producing soul vials. I might even do it this episode, I don't know, and just start capturing like everything that I see. And then eventually what we'll do is we'll add MFR safari nets on this side, filled with every creature. So then we'll have every creature available in soul vial form and in MFR spawner form. And I actually considered having one of these being like a holding tank. So we could have creatures spawned with MFR, and then maybe have it so that we can capture them with soul vials then. So if we capture them initially with a safari net, then we can get them with soul vials. So, but anyways, we're going to start getting into spawning today. Lots of spawning type stuff. And the first thing that we are going to need, this is going to be dreadful, to make our safari net, okay, we are going to need ghast tears. We are definitely going to need ghast tears. I don't think, I've got a bunch of single-use safari nets, and there's some jailers, but I don't have any reusable ones. Okay, well that's too bad. That means we have to head to the nether, but before we do, I am going to get a soul vial, possibly a couple soul vials. And I did go by the nether earlier, like seeing if I could maybe find some ghast, maybe start killing some ghasts. Ghasts are not common. I actually thought about going maybe to the Twilight Forest because it's easy to find ghasts in the Twilight Forest. However, to do that we would have to go through the bosses because you get those negative effects and they're not the best. If I recall, the one where the ghasts are, that forest, I think you get blindness, if I recall correctly, if you don't actually kill the bosses up to it. So I was like, well, maybe that wouldn't work out as well as one might hope. So alright, well we'll just get a few soul vials, maybe capture a ghast, that way later on I have one to transfer into a safari net. That would be kind of useful. Also, one thing to note, I did fill the molecular assemblers out with patterns. So we have patterns here for sag mills, alloy smelters, and so on, which we're going to get into that shortly. I want to start off with actually getting our ghasts and our safari net and stuff like that. That is kind of my priority at the moment. Which naturally, I'm not terribly excited for this because ghasts are kind of nasty. I mean, not ghasts, but the nether is kind of nasty. It could be bad. Sometimes I've seen ghasts here, but for the most part, they're actually kind of hard to come by. Especially with all the stuff from Lycanite spawning, like, ghasts are pretty rare. And I'm going to need a few of them. I've got looting on my sword. I think it's only looting 2, but that's fine. I mean, I could switch to our Manual Sword if need be, but I think looting 2, because if I recall correctly, we only need like two ghast tears. Yeah, just 2 ghast tears, and then we're pretty well set. So I just need to capture one to switch over to Safari Net, and then I need to capture or kill another one probably and get a ghast tear. So then I think we'll be okay. Ooh. Now this I will take. Oh, I hear a ghast. I hear a ghast. It sounds like it is right over here. I'm going to put one of these on this hotbar. And depending if it's above lava, I mean if it's above like a platform, I'm going to kill it, I think. This first one, but if it's above lava, I'm just going to capture it and then move it somewhere in this area. There it is. Aha! There we go. And then what we can do is just then summon it. Haha! And we got 4 ghast tears. That's awesome. That is awesome. Okay, now we just need to capture one to take back with us, and we're set. Okay, because ghast tears, making more Safari Nets is going to be kind of important. I mean, granted, I could just do it with soul vials, store them in soul vials, and then switch them in the Safari Nets when needed. But I'd rather have just as many Safari Nets coming in as we need to store. So, and actually that first ghast didn't take all that long to find. Like 2% of my jetpack was it. Tell you what, I'm going to grab... Whoa! I don't want that, though. I figure we might as well grab the bushes when we go by them, if we can. I did grab some saplings earlier today. Well, it's in my other backpack, but... I grabbed some saplings just because it's one of those things, like, if we can get them, let's get them. There's a skyberry bush. Oh, haha. Stingberry. I think we're only missing, like, one berry type. Oh, and there it is. Speak of the devil, there's Blightberry. Okay. Well, we'll definitely take that. So we have all 4 berries now. Actually, I wouldn't mind having one of these guys. If we can capture them... There we go, we got an Astaroth. Awesome. Some of those demons, like if we come across them, I wouldn't mind just grabbing them so that we've already got them. And Astaroths aren't terribly common, and these guys actually aren't. Oh. It's the worst thing is if they're in a pack like that, like... Okay, yeah, I'm going to leave those guys alone for right now. Okay, I just captured a wildfire from Divine RPG. Just because you don't see those guys all that often either, so might as well. Okay, the second ghast is taking much longer to find. Like a whole lot longer. Okay, after a bit, I hear a ghast. I don't see it. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Once you hear them, it's pretty easy after that. Okay. So we're 1,000 meters from home. I've actually came back to home. I was flying around there for a little bit. And then I was looking for gas for about 30 minutes. So let's head on back and we're going to get this started. And kind of what I'm thinking is, I don't know for sure that the Experience Berry Bush is going to be enough XP. Hopefully it is. If not, I can make adjustments. I can have XP funneled over into the Mob Essence farms. That's fine. That's not a problem to add more if we need it. Or just funnel the essence from, or the experience from the, maybe the mobs themselves, from the kills and stuff like that. We'll just see, kind of play it by ear, but I think the Experience Berry Bushes, I wanted to do something with those, and so I figured that would be a good start to use those for something, so... but what I'm thinking is things like, for example, the Cyclops. The Cyclops eyes, we're mainly going to use them. There's a few weapons I wouldn't mind making for statues and stuff like that, but for the most part, Cyclops eyes are just going to be for Magicalis and not something that we need just absolute tons of. So kind of what I'm thinking is the MFR stuff is going to be kind of controlled spawning, so we don't, things that we don't need 80 billion of that's just running all the time. Then we can use our MFR setups. Throw in a Safari Net, have that running for a little while, and kind of build up those resources through that, just however much we need, basically. Alright, and then let's get ourselves some Safari Nets. So, right now we've got enough for 2 safari nets. I'm going to go ahead and use both of those. One thing I am going to do, though, is I'm going to go ahead and lock in ghast tiers so that it already has a slot over here in the mob section. So that'll work right there. And then we're going to need just a couple safari nets. So let me grab those. And of course these are craftable as well. I've just gotten... You tend to find a lot of those in chests, like dungeon loot and stuff like that. So there's 1 reusable safari net, and here is 2 reusable safari nets. Okay. And our ghast soul vial, I'm going to go ahead and just grab it. Let's actually pop like down here somewhere, just in case something bad happens. There we go. We got our ghast in the safari net. Oops. Woohoo. And bear in mind that if you're wanting to spawn ghast, I think they need like what, a 6 by 6 area? Like it's a rather large area that ghast require to spawn. So, but these areas over here should be plenty big. I built them to be fairly decent size. And I'm going to go ahead and put up our soul vials that we got. There's our wildfire and our Astaroth. So we'll just put those into there so we've got them. Okay. And for right now, I'm just going to put this, I'm going to go ahead and put this ghast reusable net in there. So we've got that one stored away as well. So eventually this is going to be like a wall-to-wall. Now I will say I don't know that there's going to be enough mobs to fill out this side, because this side has 12 slots per square, per cube. And I don't think there's going to be enough mobs to actually fill it out. So what I'm probably going to end up doing is just filling it out with soul vials with random creatures on like the back half. Because I want like a little area that you step into and it's just like safari nets and vials all the way down through there. So, okay, so we got our safari nets. Now let's turn our attention towards the actual system that we're going to need to implement all of this. So first up, what I'm going to want is I want to set up the sewer system and go ahead and get that started running. It's going to require a factory machine block of plastic, pneumatic servo, also some bricks. I've got some bricks over here. So we'll grab those. Like that. And really we only need like 1 sewer. That's fine. Okay, and then we're going to need a bucket and then a factory machine block. Factory machine blocks, I actually have these automated. Now, all the steps aren't automated yet. Hopefully we're going to get into that this episode or next episode, depending. But all the stuff's pretty easy to make. So I've got everything, you know, plastic and stuff like that. I can just hand make it. And then we're going to need a bucket. So let's get ourselves 3 weighted pressure plates. And we'll just put that into there. And there is our sewer. Awesome. And then I'm also going to want an autonomous activator. So this requires... Let's see. Oh, it does require a resonant machine frame. Ouch. Let's see. Redstone transmission coil. That's not hard to make. Couple silver gears. There's the reception coil. There's the transmission coil. Oh, I already had a reception coil. That's fine. And then shiny gears. Ooh, shiny I'm low on. That's fine. I can get some. That's not going to be a problem. The resonant strongbox, reinforced strongbox, hardened strongbox, strongbox. Okay. Luckily we only need like 1 of these. There's our strongbox. And then we're going to need a couple Invar gears. There's our hardened strongbox. And then our reinforced strongbox. And then our resonant strongbox. I did make up some Enderium between episodes. I was originally planning on using it for something else, but I think we still got some left over. So, okay, there's our resonant strongbox. So then the resonant machine frame. This is going to be a little bit expensive. Let's go ahead and order ourselves just a standard machine frame. And then to get hardened, normally like if I was just upgrading machines, I would just upgrade it. You know, make the basic and then upgrade to the resonant. But the autonomous activator, however, requires the resonant. So, alright, electrum gear. There's that. Then we're going to need our machine frame hardened. And then the reinforced, we're going to need a signalum gear. And then a reinforced machine frame. And then resonant is Enderium gear. And, okay, I need more vibrant alloy. That's fine. Okay, I got some more vibrant alloy being made up, but we do have the one that we need, so there we go. Resonant Machine frame. Okay, so now we need to get ourselves some shiny, and I've actually got some cinnabar here. And I've got some ferrous. And by the way, most of my cinnabar comes from one of the ores. Let's see, is it gold? I think it is. But you can also get it with gelic gryothium cinnabar ore to get cinnabar. So we'll be automating that process very, very soon, because before long, I think, whenever we set up our ore processing system, I think I want just everything, all the ferrous, just run through with cinnabar. So we're going to automate that whole process of making cinnabar and keeping that stocked up. But I actually forgot that we used our induction smelter in our auto slag system last episode. So I'm going to make another one of those real quick. Okay, so there's that. And I'm just going to, for right now, I'm just going to put this right up here, actually. Just so we have it on hand. Ferrous, cinnabar, there we go. We'll get that running. And start getting ourselves some shiny. Autonomous activators are like crazy expensive. But it kind of makes sense, because autonomous activators, you can literally do like anything. Automate like anything with autonomous activators. So there's one shiny gear. And there's two shiny gears. Okay. And there is our autonomous activator. Woot. Okay. Throw some of this stuff back into there. Alright, so that stuff is done. How many item conduits do I have? 21. Let's also go ahead and get ourselves a frame drawer. And this is going to store experience berries. And I think... Okay, I was thinking that had some built up, but I guess not. There's 45. I'd been popping them whenever I picked them up, but we've got 334 levels at the moment, so don't really need it. And I mean, if I need more experience, I can just move that stuff over there. That's fine. I'm also going to want, let's see, fluid conduits. I have 23 pressurized fluid. That's fine. And then let's also get... I'm going to need energy conduits. I'm actually probably going to need more than that on the energy conduits. So let's go ahead and get a bunch of those. So there's nearly a stack and a half of those. And then I'm also going to want some sort of tank. Okay. And by the way, did we complete any quests by chance? Because we just made a bunch of, 4 quests with unclaimed rewards. So we have hardened machine frame. They're going to give us a redstone clock. Reinforced machine frame, we get a nesting upgrade, which will come in use later. And then there's a basic filter upgrade for the resonant machine frame. And then down here, the automatic clicking autonomous activator, 4 conduit facades, 4 item conduits. I will definitely take that. Okay, so I'm going to want a tank. And I think, instead of going with a drum, I think I'm just going to go for a resonant portable tank, because they store like quite a bit more. And they're not all that expensive for us at the moment. So there's regular, and then we'll get the hardened, and then the reinforced. I didn't actually want to use the fused quartz, but okay. And then resonant. We'll grab this one. There we go. That's one of the things I was wanting to use our Enderium for. Okay, so resonant portable tank. This stores 512,000 millibuckets. And then I'm also going to want a comparator. And I think we can just go with a standard redstone comparator, I think. So we'll get some of those, and then I've got, let's see, I think I've got some redstone conduit around here somewhere. Just a matter of finding it. Okay, maybe I don't. So I'm just going to grab like 8 pieces, that's fine. Okay. So now I think we've got everything in order that we need. I don't know why I'm doing that. I'm just going to hold the axe. I think we've got everything we need to get the sewer system set up. To start building up liquid essence and storing that and everything. And I'd like to get this system in place, hopefully this episode. And then kind of what my plan is next episode, depending on where we get with this. I'm hoping to get this entire thing set up, but we'll see. If we don't get it all set up, then we'll finish it out next episode. But next episode, I'm wanting to do kind of a tying up loose ends sort of episode, because there's a lot of stuff that we could do in relation to that. So that's kind of my goal at the moment. All right, so where do we want to put this at? Like right as you walk in? So that's what we might do. We might put it right here. I think. Can I not adjust? I hate this. You have to actually have the augment for it. That's fine. I'll have to make an augment for that. But what I'm thinking is we'll have the autonomous activator there. We'll have the sewer setting right down here. And then we're going to have the portable tank setting right here. And then I think that should be okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have this set to... Oh, I don't have the redstone augment either. I'm going to need that. Okay, and I actually want the other... I want the Project Red Comparator instead of the vanilla comparator. So, and then we'll want a screwdriver as well. So, there's actually a few other things that we need. Because I changed my mind on the comparator. So, Project Red Comparator, this requires circuit plates, conductive plates. Let's go ahead and get a couple of those. Oh, actually, we need 2 more of them. And then we're going to need a cathode. And there we go. There's our comparator. And then let's get I want the integrated redstone circuit augment, which is really, really cheap. And then I also want the integrated modular framework that allows for the sides of a device to be reconfigured. I want that augment as well. Okay, so what we're going to do is let's first put our augments into here. Integrated modular framework and our redstone. And we're going to say that you run on a low signal. And configuration, let's go ahead and clear that for the time being. Okay. And then what I want to do is, let's go ahead and set up our drawer. And I think we're just going to have it setting... let me actually make a different drawer. One that matches this a little bit. So that's Skystone Brick. Okay. So we'll put the drawer right there. And I should have the key... that. We'll go ahead and lock in experience essence berries. And then what I want to do is actually just write... Oh wait. We have a visitor here. Okay, right over here, I just want to set up our item conduits. And we're going to say that you can pump in... Let's see. That side? Yep. Okay, you're going to pump in over on that side. And we'll say that you can insert, you can extract always active. Okay, so it's going to start getting those concentrated essence berry bushes. And we'll go ahead and clean that up a little bit. And I'm going to have to come through some of these areas with conduit facades and clean that up. That's fine, but... Alright, so next up what I want to do is let's run some item conduits over. Just come right up through here, and then I'm going to come back through and conduit facade this. We'll say that you can insert. And then we'll just pop down here. And we're going to plug up all of our harvesters. And just say extract, extract, extract. And just finish up that item conduit. So now these harvesters, whenever they get those essence berry bushes or essence berries, they'll get pumped into this. And then we're going to have to plug up power to this. So there's always phantoms. When I was building this, there was phantoms all over the place too. So that is nothing new. They're all coming up out of the mob farm that's down here. So okay, the Tesseract is basically like one in front of this position. So let's go ahead and mark that. And we're going to want to plug up fluid and energy to that Tesseract. I'm making a little bit of a mess here. I'll have to come back through with some smooth stone and clean that up. That's not a problem. Okay, right now we're right on top of the mob farm. That's where I want to be, actually. Okay, and there's the Tesseract. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to plug up pressurized fluid conduits. And then energy conduits. And we're going to set this to energy mode send receive as well. Because right now it was sent to like send. Okay, sending fluids, sending items. Okay, beautiful. Okay, let me go get some more pressurized fluid conduits. I'm going to have to make some more fused quartz and all that mess. So I'll be back in just a moment once I get some of those made up. And I'm just going to plug up, first up, fluid conduits here. We're going to say that you can extract, you can extract, you can extract. I'll go ahead and just plug this one in. And then just energy conduits, we'll just run these over just like that. Okay, so now if we take a look inside of our autonomous activator, there's 45 in there at the moment. And we should start seeing them pulling in some more. By the way, these all have iron upgrades. So just a heads up, they all have iron upgrades. It's an extra radius of 3, so it covers that whole little area there. Okay, so 58, 62, 64, so on and so forth. Okay, so now let's pull up a little bit of power. And we'll just go... Actually, just kind of bring this power up. And we'll just remove these blocks for the time being. And then I'll facade them as well. So power is just going to come up like that. And now it's going to start dropping XP onto the sewer. And I am going to have to block this area off. We'll do that in just a moment. I think it's picking me up at the moment, but yeah. Let me go ahead and set this to high redstone signal. Okay, so anyways, you can see that there's some essence that's built up in the sewer. That's what we want. And there's also sewage, but we're not getting sewage. Okay, and then what we're going to want to do is let's break this stuff off. And actually, I think if I just put a pressurized fluid conduit right there, you can see now that the resonant portable tank is getting the essence from that. I'll tell you what, actually, let's move this slightly. I think I want this to just kind of be glassed in little area. I actually will probably remove these seared windows and maybe put them around this. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, I actually forgot to hit record. I'm sorry. But basically all I've done is I've moved the resonant portable tank below the sewer. And it's actually pulling the liquid experience from the sewer. It's not really something we need to be able to see. You know, it's going to be something that's running automatically. And then I ended up using the vanilla Minecraft comparator. I've set it up right there. And then it's just insulated redstone conduit feeding out and then up into the autonomous activator. And then I put these seared windows here so the experience orbs didn't come through here. Okay, so right now it's actually stopped up. It stopped the system at 35,379. So what we're going to do is we're going to throttle the comparator so that it requires it to be... I guess we'll go with full, actually. I was thinking about doing a bookcase and limiting it, but I think if we just do a... Let's just do like a lever. So we'll get ourselves a lever, and then we'll just pop back over. And I will come back through with carpenter's blocks to kind of clean up where those windows are and stuff. And I may actually change the design slightly. I don't know for sure. But basically I just want some kind of block there so the experience orbs don't pop out and they don't chase me around and all that whenever I come into the building. Because of course that is kind of a nuisance, in fact. So we'll just put the redstone like right there and then put our lever right here. And so now the comparator is not going to shut off the system until it's like full. And then it'll shut off, which is fine because then, you know, even if there's a little bit of overflow, the sewer is going to catch that overflow. Okay? So that's up and working now. And then I can still pop down here and fill out the rest of these essence berries. If I find that it's not enough, I can always expand this out a little bit and add more essence berries. Or, like I said, I can pump XP from the grinders back into the system. Which we might actually do that anyways, so. Alright, so that's running. I am going to need to chunk load this area, so let's see, that area is chunk loaded. So let's chunk load like this area here. So aside from cleaning that area up, that's all up and working now. With automatic shut off and all that good stuff. Okay, so now let's turn our attention. There's a lot that goes into this build, so we'll be working on it a little bit. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is I just want to grab our spawner real quick. And a couple things related to actually setting up the spawn area. So the auto spawner, magmatic sponges, I've already made these, in fact. And the Z-Logic controller. We're also going to need plastic just like this. That gets us a block of plastic. We're going to need 2 of those. And then we're going to want a factory machine block. I think we've got, yeah, we've got everything to craft that. Everything's automated for that except for the reinforced slates and the alloys and stuff that go into it. So, alright, so there's that. And then we're going to need our offensive. And there's our auto spawner. Woot. Okay. And we have not completed any quests. Okay, so there's that. Basically all that's going to take is essence, power, and a safari net. So we're pretty well set on that. Now the next thing that I'm going to want is I'm going to want a travel anchor. Ooh, these are a little bit expensive. Ender crystals, that's fine. We have nothing related to getting that. Okay, so let's see. Dark Solarium. Pulsating crystals, Solarium. Alright, this stuff's actually not that bad. Let's get a couple of those. What does this take? Enderman head. Okay. And actually, we should be able to make this in the Induction Smelter. We'll get that going. And what was it? Is it silicon for the Ender Resonator? Yeah, it was silicon. Okay. And then we also need for the crystal, we're going to need dark steel, solarium. Okay. This is at least a big chunk of it for like the dark solarium and the Ender Resonator and all that stuff. Okay, so Ender Resonator is like that. And then we'll get that running. This is a little bit expensive, but it's not terrible. And actually, what does the Ender IO take? Oh, the Ender IO is actually pretty cheap. In comparison to the travel anchor. The travel anchor is the worst thing. And then after that, I think we're pretty well set. We'll have to get, oh yeah, the Ender crystal. That's not terrible to make, though. And let me go ahead and order 2 machine chassis. And then I'm going to want some soul vials. So let's get... Okay, we can afford 3 of them. That works. And first thing I want to do is I want to pop over to our dimension here. And I'm going to go grab a couple Enderman souls. I'm going to grab 2 of them. One to put inside of our storage area and eventually make a safari net of. But not just yet. And then 1 for our actual crystal. So, okay, we've actually got 4 soul vials at the moment. And let's see, I'm actually out of villagers right now. Or out of emeralds. So, let me just pop down here. 1 emerald for 5 apples. Yeah, you're crazy. So, villager. And... villager. And I don't currently have any kind of molten liquid in here. So, let me get... I don't know, a piece of iron. I've actually got a bunch of reception coils made over here too. I'll throw those into the system. And let me go ahead and get our gem cast. Put that in there. And I actually need a couple more villagers. They only give like a quarter of an emerald each. But later on, once we have regen, what we can do is we can just throw in like a couple villagers into a smeltery. And then they'll be regenning fast enough that they just keep making emeralds. Or we could just make a spawner system too. Since we're getting into spawning, that's an option as well. Okay, anyways, we've got ourselves an emerald. Woot. And we'll get our vibrant crystal. And we'll go run this together with our enderman and get our ender crystal. 10 levels, we have that on hand actually. Okay, and there's our ender crystal. Woot. Okay, so we've almost got our travel anchor and our Ender IO block. Alright, so travel anchor. What am I missing? Oh, the Eyes of Ender. And let me actually get a few more of those running. And I'm actually almost out of blaze rods and powder, but that's fine because now that we're getting into spawning, I can make a blaze safari net shortly. So, alright, we'll just put that into there, and there's our travel anchor. And then for the Ender IO block, and the nice thing is, whenever we set up the second spawning room, all that we'll need is another Ender IO. So the cheaper of the 2. Okay, so there's those 3 blocks. Those are like the core, the key blocks for this. So I think the first one that we're going to set up is going to be this one right here. And then we'll set up this one a little bit later on. So Let's just put the spawner in. Let's see. Yeah, there's plenty of room in here for gas to spawn. We're just going to put it, it's going to be kind of lopsided, which that's fine. It's not a problem. Because the size of these, and it was actually intentional, is they're a little bit wider than they are long. But I'm going to put it like right here. Just into the floor, I think. So auto spawner right there. And let's go ahead and mark it. We'll say here. And then we just have to run fluid and power over to this. Okay, so there's our auto spawner. And we'll just say that you can insert, and I'm going to go ahead and grab like a random block. I'm going to use stained glass, just so that we make sure that, say if I'm spawning like something that's only one high, I don't want it spawning down here. Yeah, I'm going to need a few more pressurized fluid conduits. And we'll go ahead and plug up our pressurized fluid conduits right here. Say that you're going to be able to extract, always active. We have almost 100,000 mob essence. Honestly, I think this is going to keep up just fine for our needs. I'm thinking so. Okay. And we're just going to bring this straight down to right here. Let's go ahead and plug this stuff in. Like that. And then energy conduits. That's actually kind of cool. You can see through. X-ray, X-ray. And then we'll just plug that in there. So that's got power. And then we can just plug up our fluid. Like that. Okay. So now our auto spawner should have fluid. It does. And we're going to keep it on spawn exact copy no, unless we specifically need an exact copy. But I have nothing in the near future that I can think of that I want an exact copy of. And then let's go ahead and set up our travel anchor and Ender IO setup. And this is just like I did in Project Ozone. We're going to have the, let's see, we'll put the travel anchor like just right over here, I think, just kind of in the center between these two. And we'll put the Ender IO block. I think we'll have it actually probably right here. Let's see. If I put it right there, that should be fairly easy to get the MFR auto spawner. And then we can do our adjustments from here. So, and then if we ever want to change Safari nets, we'll have, right over here, we'll have just a library of Safari nets that we can use. And let me go ahead and put this Enderman into there. So, we've got that all in place. Now we just need to handle actually killing the mobs that are spawned, as well as handling the items and experience. Okay, so I think what we're going to do for killing our mobs off is, I believe we are going to use a Killer Joe for this. So we could just use spikes, that's just as easy, but Killer Joe is something we haven't really used, so, and it's fairly easy to get into at this point. Okay, so we're going to need to get ourselves 2 more Dark Solarium, which is not terribly difficult. We'll get a couple of those, and a couple pieces of Dark Steel. And then we're also going to want a Franken Zombie. This is a zombie soul, and then a Z-Logic controller. Okay, so there's our Dark Solarium. Then we'll get that running real quick. Alright, so Killer Joe, there we go. And then we're also going to have to, let's see, we're going to have to get him a weapon, and we're going to have to start getting into Vats, as well as some kind of item collection. So let's start with the Vat. From Ender IO, and if I recall correctly, there's actually a quest for this. This just requires a machine chassis, a casting basin. Let me go ahead and order those. Machine chassis. And casting basin, I actually have it made when I was setting up the recipes for the alloy smelter. And then we're going to need some pressurized fluid tanks. That's upgraded fluid tanks. That's upgraded portable tanks. Oh wait, I need 3 of these. There's 3 of those. And then our Vat. And I'm just going to start with one. Honestly, one vat is more than enough to power a Killer Joe, because Killer Joe actually doesn't use that much nutrient distillation, so that is fine. And with this system being as controlled as it is, not just running all the time, especially, of course, things like gas and stuff, I'll probably let them run for a while, but then I'll switch them out for something else. So, okay, so we've got a vat, we've got a Killer Joe, and then we're also going to want to get ourselves a sword, or some kind of weapon for the Killer Joe to use. And I believe the Killer Joe can use Divine RPG weapons, so we are going to go with the Inferno Sword. The reason being, this has infinite uses. It doesn't have a durability. So we won't have to worry about keeping it repaired or anything like that. It's 12 melee damage, burns mobs for 12 seconds. Actually a fairly good sword for Killer Joe to have. So this is going to require some blaze powder and some redstone ore and then just a stick. Okay, and I don't have enough blaze powder at the moment, but that's fine. We're about to fix that. So let me pop down here. If you recall, a while back from a quest, we got some dense redstone ore. There's also nether redstone ore we could use. Actually, I'll probably just use that. I think we can just smelt it and get 2 redstone ore. That's perfect. So there we go, 2 redstone ore. And then we just need the blaze powder. And that is what we have a safari net for. So we're going to go capture ourselves a blaze, and then we're just going to spawn it and manual kill it for a minute. Oh, there's the blaze that we need. There we go. We got a blaze safari net. And then while we're at it, let's go ahead and just get ourselves a wither skeleton. And we got a blaze. Okay. That's great. That is great. Because I want the soul vials. I mean, really? Do I need them? Not necessarily, but I want kind of like a little library of mob souls. So, might as well grab them. And actually, that's just a skeleton soul vial. But really, I guess the soul vials, it doesn't really matter if we have. Well, I've got a skeleton one. Ender IO, like with MFR, we can actually have like a wither skeleton one and use, the spawn exact copy and all of that. But I didn't think about with the Ender IO one, it's just going to be skeleton. And then if we spawn in the nether, it'll be wither skeletons. And I'm going to go ahead and pop up here and just put up some of these soul vials. So there's skeleton, there's blaze, there's blitz. Oh, we actually got some nether wart too. I don't even know what we killed to get the... Oh, belfs was what it was. Okay, so... Well, I guess it doesn't matter. I don't have to use that right now. But what I can do is I can do that, right-click that, and put our blaze spawner into there. It's going to start spawning blazes for us. So, right now I have that open, so I can just pop down here, but... Okay, there's our first blaze. And there's 3 blaze rods. That's perfect. I'll go ahead and let it spawn one more. Okay, let's go ahead and pull this out. Because I don't really need any more right now. We're going to automate it so I don't have to manual kill it anymore. And let's see, redstone. And I'm going to go ahead and just manual break these down. I know I can sag mill them, but we're about to have all the mob items that we need, like ever. So I'm not too concerned about it. There is our Inferno Sword. Oops. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and just enchant this thing. So, and I'm just going to do just enchantment table enchantments, it's fine. So let's get like 30 levels. We'll go with this one. And we have fire aspect too. Cool. Not really what I intended, but I'll probably do a little bit more enchanting, see if we can get maybe experience boost, looting 3, sharpness, stuff like that on there. Probably sharpness and looting are the main ones that I want. If I recall correctly, the enchanter is actually pretty expensive, isn't it? We could actually pull it off. So maybe next episode. For right now, I just want to get this set up. It's not really a big deal if I have looting right this second on it. Okay, so we've got all of that. Now we need to get actual fluid production set up for our nutrient distillation. And it's not really used for anything outside of just running the Killer Joe and the zombie head generator thing. And then what all options do we have for making it? I know heads are our best bet, so we're probably going to use like zombie heads. And then fermented spider eyes. I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and make ourselves a reservoir. First up, we're going to need more fused quartz. That's fine. And then let me get casting basins. I'm gonna have to go farm up a bit of nether quartz after this episode. Like, we have honestly used like 600 nether quartz this episode. Like, it's insane. So we'll get ourselves 4 reservoirs. And for right now, just for right now, looks like we're getting fermented spider eyes, maybe from witches, maybe? I don't know. I've got some mushrooms lying around somewhere. 10 of them. Okay, that's fine. For right now, I don't have mushrooms automated. We will be doing that like in the next episode or two. Same with sugar, cane, and all that stuff. For right now, I'm going to make this kind of like a semi-automatic process, and then, because honestly, this stuff's going to be plenty to run us for a while. But my goal is to run zombie heads and fermented spider eyes through this, because we're getting tons of zombie heads from our Cursed Earth farm. But for right now, we'll make it semi-automated, and then, like, just as a heads up, over the rest of this week, honestly, there is probably going to be an episode per day. Instead of every other day, it's going to be like every day. And that's because I want to really start nailing down a lot of this automation stuff. And a lot of loose ends, things like that. I think we'll probably get the mob system, the bare bones of it set up. You know, there's some improvements that we can do, like enchanting the sword a little bit better. We'll get into that probably next episode. I also want to go through and enchant our diamond spikes that are in the Cursed Earth farm to give us like looting and stuff like that. Or I can't remember if it can get looting off the top of my head, but I know like experience boost, stuff like that, and Reaper. I'd like to get Reaper on there. But over the next few episodes, it's going to be a lot of automation stuff that we're going to be working on. So we're going to be doing like back-to-back-to-back episodes for machine automation, ore processing automation, gelic cryothium, like all kinds of things that we're going to be automating. So just a heads up on that. But I think our Killer Joe, we're going to set it right here. Now, it's not going to cover this entire room, and that's fine. I'm going to put fans back here, make sure push all the mobs over in this direction. The Killer Joe has a radius of like 5 blocks, like all of this area here. If I was to set the Killer Joe in like right, okay, so the Killer Joe, there he is, and then we'll go ahead and give him his sword. That sword right there, the Inferno Sword, and you can see he's kind of holding it right now. Actually, I'll tell you what, I think I want him right there. So what he's going to do is he's going to cover from this area here all the way out to about like right in here. And then he's going to cover like 4 blocks high as well. So like the majority of this side of the room. So really, I mean, I could put another Killer Joe on this side and cover almost the entire room. And of course with mobs pathing over, that would be fine. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put fans behind this wall here. And just have them running, pushing everything over. Just kind of what I'm thinking. So we've got him set up. Then let's go ahead and set up our vat. And I'm going to have the nutrient distillation set up here. So what we'll do is we'll have our reservoir setting. I'll actually have it like right here, I think. And there's 1 bucket of water, 2 buckets of water. And I'll get my bucket of water back for mining. And then we'll have our vat set up. And in the next episode or two, we'll automate this process because I'm going to actually do the quantum stuff with applied energistics over to here, so we have terminals and things like that on this island, as well as like our blood magic area and stuff like that. That way we can kind of start spreading out and not spending so much time on that first island all the time, and be able to stay in a place working and not have to move off of it all the time. And then what we'll do is we'll have our vat setting. We'll put it like right... actually, we'll put our vat right here. And I think eventually we'll have like 4 of them set up, producing our stuff for us. And then do I have any... Okay, it looks like I'm completely out of pressurized fluid conduits at the moment. Well, we're also going to have to run energy up to this as well. So let's pop down here real quick. And what we'll do is we'll just grab like the energy line. There should be one. Oops. Oh, that was actually a carpenter's block with glowstone. Okay, there we go. So we're going to have our energy just come up like right here. And then we'll probably have the fluid probably come down the same way as well. So energy will come up through here, and then I'll come through here with conduit facades and all that. And we'll just put energy conduits there. Energy conduit, energy conduit. Okay, so there we go. And I'll spruce that area up off camera. That's fine. And then we'll just connect them up to our vat. And there we go. So that's getting power. Awesome. And so then we just have to plug up the fluid conduits to the vat and the fluid conduits down. So let me go get a bit more pressurized fluid conduits. And I'll tell you what, I can use standard fluid conduits for the water. That's fine. So we'll do that, and then we'll do pressurized fluid for the nutrient distillation. Or really, I could just use standard fluid for that as well. So there's a stack of that. Okay, just in case I want to do that, that's fine. And then let's go ahead and get ourselves a vacuum chest as well, because we're going to need one of those in just a moment, or a vacuum hopper. Probably go with a vacuum chest, honestly. Just for the added range. So there's our two vacuum hoppers. Because the Killer Joe will handle the experience for us. So that's not a concern with this. Iron chest. And then let me get 6 weighted pressure plates. There's our iron chest, and then our vacuum chest. Alright, and then I'm going to want just a few fans from open blocks. So let's go ahead and get... I want more than that. I'll go ahead and get 10, just for the sake of it. And then we'll get ourselves like 10 levers as well. I knew when I was getting all this stuff together, like, and you know, getting ready for this episode, I knew it was probably going to be like the whole episode setting this up, if not a little bit more. Well, that's okay. I think it's going to be a very effective system, so that's what counts. Alright, so fluid conduits. Let's go ahead and actually just right-click that, so that automatically outputs. And then we'll just connect, I guess the fluid's going to go into the back side of this. So we'll have that right there. I don't want it to connect to the windows. Thank you, though. Just like that, and connect that up. There we go. So that is filling up with water. Yes. Okay. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to bring that around so the border looks a little bit better. And then we can throw in our zombie heads and our fermented spider eyes. That's going to start running and making us nutrient distillation. And we're getting maximum value 4 times multiplier off the spider eyes and zombie heads. That's going to keep our Killer Joe running for a while. And then I can just manually make this stuff for the time being. That's fine. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we are going to plug up our fluid conduits. And I guess I'm just going to use standard fluid because I'm cheap right now. Because this stuff's all traveling down. It doesn't really necessarily need to be pressurized. I mean, pressurized would get every last morsel of it out, but this stuff's going to be running all the time, and it's not really a big concern. It's not like the fluid gets wasted. It just kind of hangs out in the tube a little bit. So the first Killer Joe that we want to connect is over there. And we'll go ahead and plug that up right there. Okay, and we'll say that you can insert, and I'm going to have to come through and facade all of this stuff. That's something I'm going to be working on between this episode and next, because I have so much facading to do in this building. And we'll just clean that up. And then we can just plug in our last fluid conduit. And we'll say that you can push your fluid down. Okay, so nutrient distillation should be going down now into our Killer Joe and filling him up. And I think it's only like 5 millibuckets per swing or something like that, right? Okay, so he's starting to get nutrient distillation. It's taking a little while. I mean, these conduits aren't the fastest in the world. I might upgrade them, but honestly, I think it's going to be plenty. Because, like I said, he only uses like 5 per swing, and this is moving like more than enough to keep that going. So, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And then let's set up our fans. So, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove these blocks back here, and we'll just do them all the way across. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put the levers back behind there, and we'll go ahead and activate all of those, and then we'll set up our fans. So this fan is going to push, I'm going to have it kind of push to the side a little bit. So it's going to kind of point it towards the Killer Joe. Then we'll have the next one being right there, and then one right there, one right there, there. Oh man, the push is real. The push is so real. And then we'll have the next one be like right there. Hey. Hey, you. Oh, Killer Joe just attacked me. That's why I'm on fire. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll just kind of close this off. So you can't actually see the fans back there running. But their effect is still so real. Okay. There we go. And it's not affecting us up here. That's the nice thing. Now, technically, I could put another fan, like, in here. Or, like, right there or something. Kind of pushing the stuff towards the Killer Joe. But there's really only one block where the fans aren't taking effect. So I'm going to kind of keep an eye on it. If it becomes an issue, I'll deal with it. But honestly, I think the mobs are going to path into this area pretty consistently. So I don't think it's going to be a concern. But we'll give it a shot. So let me go get a couple pieces of glass. And we'll just put this glass into there. And it's ready to start. Like, to give it a shot. So let me actually remove these here waypoints. This thing's driving me insane. And we're going to go with our... Oh, yeah, I didn't set up actual item collection. Oops. Whoops. Okay, one second. The Killer Joe, we can actually access it. And we're going to say active with signal for right now. But for the item collection, what I'm going to want to do is probably just put a vacuum chest. And I'm thinking, like, have it... probably just right in here. Because everything's going to be dying right up against this Killer Joe. So if we have the vacuum chest, like, right here. And then we'll pop down here... And we'll just pull the items out in this direction. And then we just have to find our Tesseract line that we made earlier. Right there. And we'll say that you can insert... Man, these guys get on my nerves. And we'll just run an item conduit line. I'm going to have to go make more item conduits. And I know the episode might be running a little bit long. I do apologize, but I want to get this all squared away. So... Alright, then we'll just have the item conduits connecting to the bottom, and we're going to say, let's see, actually remove this temporarily. We're going to say you can extract always active. There we go, and the ender chest ranges at 6, good. Or the vacuum chest, I mean. And just clean that up. And now we're ready to start it. Now we are officially ready to start it. So what we'll do is we'll just hit up our travel anchor. Let's set our... Gosh. Those phantoms, though. Those things are so annoying. Okay. Let's set it to always active. So that's ready to run. And then all we have to do is just put in our spawner. So we'll just put that into there. And that's going to start trying to work. There we go. And... go. And then it's dead. So it's going to start collecting ghast tears for us. That easy. And then, of course, we could also spawn blazes or whatever we felt like. And, like I said, we can still put looting 3 on that sword and up the amount of drops. Listen to it just spawning constant. So let's pop over here. Let's see if we're getting ghast tears. Because we had 0 in the system. I couldn't make any more safari nets because we had no ghast tears. But I bet you that's changed now. So if we take a look over here, ghast tears, we have 11 of them already. So there you go. And so now I can make more safari nets of more types of mobs even easier. So, and then, you know, we'll have, once I get that other room set up, which really it's no rush to get that other room set up. I'm not for sure if I'm going to have it as a holding cell. I'll probably just do it as another spawner room. So if we want to have like 2 mob drops that we don't have like fully automated, if we want to have 2 of them set up at once, like 2 of them running, we can do that. So yeah, it's got 2,000 millibuckets of nutrient distillation right now. And you can see this is building up with XP. We can pump that XP out, and we might do that. Right now it's not really a concern because I'm up to my neck in XP, you know. Nutrient distillation, I'm going to have to get more of that stuff running. But you can make it with just sugar or nether wart. I've actually got some nether wart. I'll just make some with that for right now. But I think I'm just going to let this guy build up with XP for now, and then if we find that we want to use it, you know, to make more resonant, essence. I mean, right now, look at that. We're almost up to 200,000. And I don't even have all the berry bushes in. Because those berry bushes, it's not just like a couple XP. It's actually quite a bit of XP per berry. And some of these, I don't even think are fully grown at the moment. Well, actually, these have fully grown, so. But we still have a lot more to go in here. That's only about half of the total berry bushes. So I'll tell you what, I think we're probably good on ghast tears for the moment. So I'm going to switch over to blazes for a little while and let it run through those. And then, of course, I can make a Cyclops. I can make a Cyclops safari net as well. So, and really I've got everything on me to where we could do that. So let's pull that out. Let's replace it with blazes for a little while and let it work on some blazes. Get us some blaze rods. Well, that sword's not actually going to be all that great against them. But, yeah, I'm going to have to... I think it would be okay. I think that eventually path over into it. But I am going to add another fan in. So let me do that real quick. I'll show you what I'm going to do here. Let me say active with signal. That's the worst thing about the Killer Joe is he will beat you to death if you don't set him right. Oh, you know what, though? That's actually kind of a problem because right through there is the other spawner room. I'll tell you what we could do, though. If we pull this up, and then right down here, we put a fan just kind of facing in like that. And then put our lever back there. That's going to push anything in this area over towards the Killer Joe. And then we can do the same thing over here. We'll put it... But this one we want to put down. We'll put it more like... Well, I guess we could do the same thing. Just put it down. Put the fan in right there. Because they do affect like a couple Y levels above where they're at. And so that one's going to push everything over there. Oh, there is kind of a dead zone in the corners. But that's only if they get right in the corners, and that's actually kind of tough for them to do because of this fan. Because they can't spawn all the way out here. So actually, I think that's going to be okay. Right there like that. I'll keep an eye on it and see, but I think that's going to be plenty good for us. So we'll go ahead and put this back in, say spawn us blazes, and let's see what happens. They shouldn't hit a dead zone anymore. They should go straight to the Killer Joe, I should think. Alright, so there we go. It made blaze, and it pushed him right over to the Killer Joe, and he killed him. And then the next blaze comes out, and there we go, he gets beat down. And the next one. Okay, so it's seeming to work as intended right now. So, whooped. Okay, but I'm actually going to pull this out for right now, because neither of those mobs actually need, at the moment, all that much. Cyclopses would be nice, so I might get a Cyclops Safari Net. Next episode, because I know it's wrapping up point right now, but next episode when we come back, we're going to get ourselves an enchanter and actually get that sword boosted up a lot, so that it has, like, looting, especially looting and sharpness. That's the main things, because, I mean, that sword's already pretty strong. 12 attack damage is pretty high. Not to mention it does fire damage, has fire aspect. If we were to put sharpness and looting on it, it would be a pretty OP sword. So we're going to do that next episode at the beginning. And then we're going to briefly get into Lycanite's breeding. I wanted to get into that this episode, but I didn't have time. But we will cover how Lycanite's breeding and Lycanite's farming type stuff works. Like I said, I don't think we're going to be doing that a whole lot within the series, but I will go over how that works. But with our spawner system and stuff like that already in place, I'm not a huge animal farmer, unless I have access to like Botania so that I can automate that system. But manual feeding and stuff has never been my thing. Unless I'm in actual vanilla Minecraft, that's a different story. But so I will go over how that works, but then probably like the aspids and stuff, we'll probably just set them up in safari nets. So if we need the meat, there we go. And eventually we will have these things fully automated with other kinds of spawners and stuff like that. But I think I like MFR for controlled spawning because it's very easy to just flip-flop and switch around and stuff like that. So that's kind of my thinking on that. But yeah, so next episode, we'll do those two things. That's going to be very, very quick, very, very brief stuff. And then we're going to start getting into automation. And like I said, the next few days, there's going to be back-to-back episodes each day. And we're going to be doing a lot of automation that I've been wanting to do. Just haven't had the time to fit it into things. So we're going to be doing the AE2 automation for processors and for charge service and for pure crystals and all that stuff. We're going to be automating that with our AE system. We're going to be doing machine automation with AE2. We're going to be doing ore processing system automation. We're going to be adding onto our cobbleworks and doing all the way up to octuple compressed cobblestone. We're also probably going to change our obsidian storage to compressed obsidian storage because we're going to start needing that before long. And probably start fully automating that so that instead of me having to manually move the drums, we'll just have it being produced as long as there's lava in the nether. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff like that over the next few episodes. So, but I will say that after we get through all this automation that we're going to be hitting, the ore processing, we're also going to be doing ender chests, ender pouches, ender tanks, things like that. Quantum AE2 stuff, just all sorts of things. But once we get through all of this, it's going to make our lives so much easier. So much easier. And then we'll probably start moving into blood magic automation and some stuff like that shortly after that point. Okay? Well, semi-shortly after that point. There's still a little bit we have to do before we get to our Well of Suffering. And we'll probably squeeze in a little bit of blood magic here and there as we go through our automation stuff. So. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay up to date with when new videos come out. Next video will be out tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care. Stay safe. If you guys have any questions on the setup, the build that we did, that we were working on today and everything, do let me know and I'll do my best to get those answered for you. And until next time, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I will see you guys then.